Looks like we're going to turn 3 now. Logan's turn 3. Kick things off with a Diablo into a Morph, and Regis was able to answer the Let the Storm Rage on with his Ursula Deceiver, and followed it up with a Peter Pan Shadow. Pretty nasty start from Regis in this matchup. The Ursula being able to take out any song, and the Peter Pan Shadow able to pressure any evasives as well as the characters on board, as is. So definitely what you want to see. Probably wanted to start with a 1 cost, but I think otherwise he's pretty happy with his first 2 plays. Logan's got that Ursula 3. She can be a very nasty card. I think Regis knows, potentially what song could be coming because of that Ursula Deceiver. But, that said, there could be a nasty song off the top. Looks like an Ink of Flynn, and then we're going to see that Ursula replayed and reveals Prince John, Baboom, and Hidden Cove. So no songs for now, but that can change with any draw. And then we see a quest with Peter Pan, and a pass back to Logan. Alright, Logan ends up just playing the Prince John and opting not to ink. Definitely something that I like to see in Emerald Steel. I feel like it's a deck that doesn't really need to have a lot of ink once you get to that 3 ink threshold. Typically has a couple other bigger plays, but you can kind of wait to see how your draws develop and how the game develops before you're making that decision. So I like, when in doubt, do nothing and see what happens. We see a Kit returning that Ursula, making any song off the top of the deck potentially that much less effective. Regis able to get up to 6 lore, 1 or 2 at a time with these Pan Shadows and Ursulas. And then that 1 card with a glare on it is a Madam Mim Snake. So we've got a Snake, Ursula Deceiver, Peter Pan Shadow, and Kit versus Prince John, Diablo, Morph. You see Baboom hit the Inkwell and replay that Ursula Deceiver of all. And yeah, nothing really that can challenge or quest right now. Logan's still developing the board. You're just doing a great job of kind of controlling things, both discarding the early song as well as returning the Ursula to, shut off her effectiveness. Got a quest for 4, it's looking like, after the Iago ink. It's going to put Jabba Blahut up to 10 lore. Follows it up with a Madam Mim Fox and a replay of that Ursula Deceiver. And there's 2 new songs. Wow. Logan drew 2 songs the last 2 turns. And the Kit and the Ursula Deceiver were able to stuff those. Wow. We see Hidden Cove hit the Inkwell. And it looks like 5 ink is getting spent. We don't talk about Bruno. It's going to hit the Peter Pan Shadow Finder. Hardest character on board to answer, so I think it makes sense. We're going to discard that Madam Mim Fox. And draw a card off Prince John. probably looking for another song. I imagine, yeah, we see a pass, so very clearly wasn't exactly what Logan needed on that situation, but still able to control the board a bit here. Hey, if you're just joining us, this is the uh, Lorcanathon benefit event. We're benefiting Camp Opportunity, which is a local Baltimore charity. We're here at the Lorcana Loft in Baltimore, Maryland. Um, a little bit of a private clubhouse, if you will, to duke out some cards and raise some money for an awesome charity. Alright. Regis just quested out and plays a goat. Pretty nasty card. Bruno is then played again, drawing another card off Prince John. Looking for another song. Looks like we found one. Let the Storm Rage on. Really good with that Ursula Deceiver of all here. So the first one's going to be pointed at Kit. Going to draw a card and consider our options here. Regis has steady been putting the pressure on. Logan opts to do the second 2 damage to Ursula Deceiver. Looks like we're going to see another song from Prince John. This time the Storm is going to hit the Madam Imp Fox. Going to put 2 damage on that as well. It looks like a challenge from Diablo, adding the 3rd damage to the Ursula, and then whatever challenges the Fox is going to bite the dust. So Logan opts to keep the Diablo around as well, only taking 1 damage from the Ursula and trading with the Fox. Still a few characters to have to deal with. It's still a pretty rough spot. Regis, aka Jabba Blahut, was able to control both Logan's board and hand this game a lot. Typically, Emerald Steel is more of the control deck, but Regis was able to muster up quite a bit of interaction this game, which was able to slow down Ursula Deceiver of All, was able to slow down Logan's songs, and just kind of chip away lore at the same time. 2, 3, or 4 at a time throughout the first couple turns of the game, and it's gotten him up to 15. Looks like the goat and the snake challenge the Ursula, trying to shut off some of the potential top deck outs Logan may have to crawl back into this one. Or you're just saying, no thanks. I don't need any other nasty song sung off the top. So got rid of that Ursula. Lost 2 lore in the process, but may have disrupted Logan exactly as much as needed. Logan answers with a Pete, but that is not answering any of the characters on board. Logan does have the Diablo that can challenge. I believe the goat and the snake have 2 damage on them. I can't quite see the dice. Alright, and then we see another strength. So it looks like the song was found, and the Ursula would have been able to sing 2 copies of it. So Regis with the heads up play of challenging the Ursula there. Able to quest up to 19 here after the goat gained 1 lore, and follows up with an Iago. And Logan's out of outs, so we're going to go to game 2. Yeah, these Emerald matchups are always fun to watch. I feel like oftentimes it ends up kind of being a situation where no matter what 2 Emerald decks you pair against each other, just with the way the rest of the decks are built, they so often have like a pretty close to 50-50 matchup. Even if one Emerald deck is playing Diablo and the other isn't, it's typical that the Emerald decks that aren't playing Diablo are going to have a lot of Diablo answers. And sure enough, we saw that Peter Pan Shadowfinder and the Kit Cloud Kicker from Regis round 1, which were you know, the Shadow Finder really was just there to quest, but the Kick Cloud Kicker bouncing the Ursula Deceiver all was huge. Um, really interesting to see cards like Kid Cloud Kicker, who don't have the most powerful abilities, still uh, win the game on their own, just providing that tempo swing, which is really what the Emerald Mirror matches end up being most of the time. You're typically just constantly fighting for tempo and control of the board. Um, depending on what kind of songs and other characters you're playing, you may not be able to take out a lot of things in the same turn, especially if you're getting disrupted by Ursula or songs. In that, as the players are going back and forth here. So this game we're going to have Logan on the play. A couple of tough alters. It looks like both players opting to go with 5 cards, but yeah, I think both players mulling their options over, deciding let's just go ahead and get new cards out of these. It's pretty interesting in Emerald Mirror matches like this how effective cards can be one turn and then on the very next turn be completely ineffective just because of Ursula Deceiver, Kick Cloud Kicker, any number of cards that can come down. Pete, anything that can come down and stop your opponent for a turn is it's going to be nasty here when each turn is so important. I want to thank all of our sponsors for the Lorcanathon benefit event. McNamara, who is a local team and tournament organizer. They're up and coming in the Lorcana scene, but do check them out if you're on the East Coast and you're looking for an awesome event to play June 7th. McNamara is having a 128 person event. They're doubling up from their last 64 person events. And we're going to have a bunch of set 8 booster boxes up for grabs at that. So it's going to be right after set 8, brand new cards legal, and we'll be duking it out somewhere in the DMV for another handful of brand new cards. So it's going to be exciting. I think it's in Columbia, Maryland, the next event as well. But please look up McNamara on any socials or their website to find out more information. And if you're interested in playing in the McNamara event on June 7th, be sure to submit the Google form and get your interest in now. Last I heard, there was about 100 players or so signed up. So still another 20-some spots, but they will not last long, especially after the stream. And then thank you to World Class Cards, who is my team. Robert at World Class Cards gave us a bunch of awesome prizes to give away, both at the event itself and for the viewers at home. So thank you, World Class Cards. And then thank you to the Game Haven, which is a local store in Pikesville, Maryland. They host their Lorcana events every Friday. Every release event, they have an awesome draft event that normally gets like 20 or 30 people, and it's a lot of fun. Really fun to play Lorcana Limited when you can. I know it's not the most sought after format, but it's still really fun to play Lorcana Limited when the new set comes out, and the community agrees. So we got a great turnout on the release Fridays of Lorcana events at Game Haven in Pikesville. And then I also want to thank our other sponsor, Stevenson Games. They're a store in Stevenson, Maryland, and we host Lorcana League every Tuesday there. And also be on the lookout for some weekend Lorcana events coming up once Stevenson Games moves to a bigger location. We currently have a nice cozy game space, and they're gonna be expanding things up at Stevenson Games to host some 1K and other fun weekend events as well to add to the already stacked roster of events we have in Maryland. Going back to the game here, we've got a Morph and an Ursula versus another Ursula and a Peter Pan Shadow Finder, it looks like. The Morph's chilling at the Hidden Cove, which has a little bit of damage on it from that Ursula and Peter Pan. Looks like neither Ursula found a song, interestingly enough. So, we've got empty discards here. So, both coasts are clear for now. So, it looks like we're just going to be getting some character-on-character action, potentially. No songs as of yet. Logan debating what he wants to do. This is, a pretty important turn of the game, I think. Typically, these early turns of these Emerald Mirrors are the most important turns of the game. Um, you know, both players are fighting for the board, fighting for lore, fighting to control their opponent's challengers. But we see a Muses come down with an Ursula Deceiver of All hitting the inkwell, maybe indicating that there's not a song yet, but we know there's going to be songs coming. So we'll go ahead and get the Muses down ahead of time in anticipation. Alright, sorry about that. Just checking out some Discord messages. Getting back to the action, we've got a Hypnotize coming down. Looks like Regis is deciding on what card to discard. Still got a lot of options. Ends up with a Flynn Rider. That's a card we haven't seen in a while, but I think it's pretty cool in this deck. You've already got the Curse Merfolk to put the hand pressure on as well. So even though the Flynn Rider can't really trade that well with the character in play, it's going to always trade with a card as long as it's getting challenged. So pretty cool include by Regis there, and one that I like. And it looks like we see a Muse's Quest. Pass. See a quest with a genie, and then the Madam Mim Fox is going to bounce that genie. I'll try reducing the light just a little bit and see if that helps at all with some of the glare. Be right back. Alright, you're good. Nice. Looked like it was exactly what we needed. Just a little bit less light. And take the glare off these cards. Got a little bit of a shadow from our camera rig, but that's okay. I think we can see all the boards pretty clearly here. See a sudden chill hit the inkwell and is followed up with 2 Diablos. I bet those were, you know, kept at bay a little bit by that genie that just got bounced. But Logan, with his last 2 cards, deciding now it's time to deploy those Diablos. And it looks like the Ursula's going to go ahead and finish off that Fox that took out the Muses. Logan's still at 0 lore, so it looks like that Muses sang and did not quest, like I had thought. Regis not having nearly the lore lead this game, but that is to be expected given that Logan is on the play. Want to come hang? Yeah, you want to come hang? No? No? Oh. Tried to rope the one of the head honchos of McNamara, Matt, to commentate, but did not work. Justin, you want to... He's gone. He's gone. Alright, looks like the Ursula went on a quest, as did another character that was returned with a Madam Mim Snake, and followed up by a Peter Pan. What a nasty card for this board. We know there's also a Genie in hand that was bounced with a Madam Mim Fox, so that is going to be a nasty combo with that Peter Pan in the face of 2 Diablos, but I think I agree that Logan just didn't have a choice here. Had to take out the Ursula and get some cards going. Scott, are there steam in it all? Okay, cool. Okay, sweet. They're steaming. Can you tell Gordy those are steaming? We do see that Genie come down as anticipated, and a Flynn Rider hitting the inkwell. Followed up with a Go-Go Tamago. Wow. Which is going to trade with the Diablo. I like that play. I like that play. So instead of challenging with the Genie, we just decided to challenge with Go-Go Tamago instead. The reason he did that is mainly because of Let the Storm Rage on. So, you know, if that Genie challenges a Diablo, it then has 2 damage, puts it right in Let the Storm Rage on range, and Regis deciding, rather than go that, I'll just spend the Go-Go, lose a card in the process, but what it's going to do is protect this Genie, making sure that it's going to be able to quest for 2 on the following turn. Although Logan may have something to say about that. And sure enough, he's got a strength with a raging fire, which does the 2 damage that we had talked about, but follows it up with a boo boom. So he had 2 sources of 2 damage, thus able to take that genie out. But heads up play by Regis by keeping that genie at full health, making Logan spend the full 2 cards to take out that genie. Really heads up stuff. We see a Pete Space Pirate come down on the morph, shifting into a big bad pirate guy. I think Pete Space Pirate is one of the best reasons to play Emerald Steel right now, honestly. I think that card's so great. Um, you know, ends up being able to dominate a lot of boards, being a 5/5 with resist 1 as long as he's exerted. Shutting off Song Singing, which may not come up that much in this matchup, but against a lot of the decks in the format, that is going to do a number. So I love seeing Pete Pirate Captain come out. That's not right. Pete Space Pirate come down and, and impact the board here. We see a Hypnotize taking out Regis' last card. And then we see a Strength, make a mana of the Merfolk. And a Pete saying, "We don't talk about Bruno." Discarding the Flame Rider randomly, of course. And a pass back to Regis. Regis go ahead and getting going with 2 quests here. The Peter Pan Shadows Finders. They are evasive, of course, so they're not going to have any issues with Peter Morph challenging them. Follows things up with a Merlin Goat, which is a pretty nasty card at this stage in the game. Looks like Logan is going to answer back with another Baboon, which is going to end up taking out the Peter Pan Shadow Finder and a Diablo as well, which can challenge this board, but is not what you're looking for at this stage of the game, unfortunately. Heading back to Regis' turn, we got a little bit of a think here, deciding if he wants to quest all out or perhaps play around this Pete, deciding, nah, let's just go for it. We're already close enough. Let's get to 15, and let's see what happens. Logan kicks it off with a Hypnotize just to get a new card. Not exactly what you're looking for at this stage of the game. Regis discarding the imaginary card in his hands. And Logan takes out this goat, which I think is very important at this stage of the game. And takes out the snake as well, just having to take out anything it can at this point to stop Regis from questing. Gonna go up to 19 the following turn, so a little bit of a scary scenario here for Logan. Let's see what the top of the deck provides Regis. It's gonna be a Rushiago, wow! Which takes out the Pete, holds the 5 damage, and takes the game for Regis.